Hey all, hey all, hey all. Super excited. I have a special guest on today that I can't wait to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about systems. Somebody told me this a long time ago, and I had a hard time swallowing it. But as I've thought through the years, I realized a lot of truth to what she said. She said to me, she goes, people don't fail, systems fail. And I could debate this and argue it so many times, but what she's really saying is that to be successful, we have to find a system that we can believe in, that we can follow, and we can get passionate about, especially when you add a burning desire, something that you want to accomplish and achieve in your life. So right now, both Cameron and I, who I'm going to introduce in a second, are with Prove It, and we love it. We just love it. But we both have burning desires to make a big change in our life. And more importantly, when we started, we had a burning desire to change where we were, and we were willing to do what it took, to the point where we were working so much, and we're going with our hair on fire, and we're all over the place. We realized that we didn't put some things in place so we could have maybe a time management block, that we could appreciate why we're doing it and have success in this. So if you're watching this right now and you want to have great success, you have a desire to change your life, you have a goal in mind, systems are going to play a big role in that. And you probably have a system already in place, and you maybe don't even realize the significance or the importance of it. For some of you who are just getting started out brand new, the great thing about Prove It is that we have a system. And sometimes you have to believe in the system. You have to believe in the process, as long as you're willing to go do the work, and you will have greater success. But most importantly, you're going to have success faster than you would have otherwise had. And so I think back in the beginning for me, it's like, if I would have actually just believed in the system more, I believed in the product, I believed in the company, I believed in what we were doing. I don't know if my belief in the system, because maybe wasn't clear to me. So what we want to do today is show you a system to follow. And these rules and principles really can apply in anything in your life. I think back when I was in the Marine Corps, when we got started in boot camp, they had a very clean system. The reason why the Marine Corps is so amazing is they have a system that they follow, and people believe and follow that process. It doesn't mean there isn't different personalities, doesn't mean there isn't different philosophies, doesn't mean there isn't even different goals or different approaches, but the system still's the same. And so I can't wait to have you come on, and we're going to listen to somebody that I've gotten to respect so much over the last almost 6 years.
Mhm.
When I first met her, she was all over the place, but she was dedicated. She was strong. She had this greatness inside of her, and she was willing to do the work that needed to be done to change hers and her family's life. She's an amazing mom. She's an amazing wife. She's an entrepreneur. She has an international business, absolute rock star, one of the pro champs here with Prove It. And she's going to help us articulate and break down the importance of a system, and what systems do you have in your hands right now. And if you can increase your belief in that system, you will change your business and your life forever, and have your cake and eat it too. And I think that's what's most exciting about it. So Cameron Moss, how are you today?
I'm awesome, Dustin. How are you? Thank you for that amazing introduction.
For sure, for sure, for sure. So I know when we first met, we were both a little bit like hair on fire, and we're all over the place, bouncing around. And to be honest, y'all, we can still get all over the place. It's
Yeah,
our
just a little bit like that.
there's a nature inside of us where we're just like, we're running into the woods, and we're like, which way are we supposed to go? But over the last handful of years, we've gotten to learn that there is a system in place, and that we need to believe in that system more. And I feel like there's nobody better, because you can get people on that are maybe very systematic people, almost too regimented and structured, where they're
Mhm.
actually not having success because they're losing the other parts. So if you're that person, lighten up a little bit. Like, it's okay to go a little crazy, but it's also important to go back and follow the process and the systems in place that are willing and leading you to success. And there's nobody better that I think that could help us go through that process than somebody that can be all over the place, at the same time recognizing there's a system to follow, and then go straight forward. So I would love for you to kind of go back and forth with me today, and help take somebody that's kind of new to maybe entrepreneurship, new to Prove It, new to community-based marketing, and help them lay out a process that they can start to follow. And first, to recognize there is already one in place for them. So I'm going to kick it over to you. I may jump in and interrupt you from time to time. So if that's okay, we'll just have some fun today.
For sure. Y'all grab a pen and paper, because Dustin and I, our ping pong games are like crazy, let me tell you, because we're both, like you said, like, hey, but we're going to give you some good stuff. I'm super excited. So Dustin, oh my goodness, like, I just have this flooded emotion and just remembrances coming back to me from the beginning and just getting started. And you said something when you were introduced to me, and you said, I was going to make it work. I was going to figure it out. Like, I'm coachable. I'll show up. I'll put the work in. That's for sure. Right. And some people are just like that. And for people that are like that, like us, and honestly, a huge majority of people in this business, we're worker bees. Like, we're going to figure it out. We're going to get it done. And so when I got started, I was in all the things. I was absorbing it all. I was like a sponge. I was showing up and I was there. And there came a point where I said, you know what? I am, like you said, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner. Like, I work another job too. I have all these things and I love this business. And I want to figure out how to be able to help more people become successful with this who need a little bit more help. They need a little bit more clarity. They need a clear roadmap of what to do and when to do and how to do it. And they need to be able to build this in the nooks and crannies of their day. And what I didn't realize that I was looking for and having this awareness that was needed was a system. And the cool thing was, we did that, right? All of us together, we developed systems over the years, and Prove It developed systems and gave us systems. But a really funny thing about it that I realized recently, just within this past year, Dustin, is that systems just that's not really a word that we used a whole lot before to attached to these different things that we used, things that we did, like ACE and things like that, words that are familiar, but we didn't necessarily say like, this is our system. So when that word systems became a buzzword in the last 2 years within this business model, we hear people talk about these awesome systems that they have and that we have, and systems, you got to have systems, you got to have systems. I started digging for systems. And I went into this immense training on systems, and I'm like, I'm going to build systems. And when I got in and I started learning about these different systems that I want to run through today and tell you about, I was like, oh man, we already have systems. We have systems. They just weren't calling them that, right? So it was a really cool, huge awareness. But Dustin, it was also a reminder that we need to call it what it is. And it is a system, and we need to identify it as that. And when we do that, it gives us a whole new level of confidence. What I know about systems is that systems build confidence. They build duplication. They help us stay on track. They help eliminate stress and pressure, because we just remember when we start to get in our head, oh wait, I have a system. Let me go back to my system, right? So they tell people that they don't have to be the expert. So when we say that to someone that, hey, we have a system, when I say that to you, how does that make you feel? If you're a new person watching this, right? If someone says to you, hey, don't worry, I have a system. We're going to help you. We're going to plug you through it. We're going to do this together. And you just feel like, oh, okay, I can do this. All of a sudden you feel like I can do this. So I hope that helps, Dustin, as kind of like a little intro and kind of what got us to where we are now. And then I just can't wait to show it all.
Well, I think it's cool. Like, one of the things that you had mentioned, I was thinking of going back to college. I didn't know what I was going to do in college. Like, it was confusing, or any kind of formal school. Well, they gave us a syllabus. I couldn't spell the word syllabus, but they gave me one. And I was like, oh, so there's a process here. There's a system that they're going to follow that. Oh, wow. Okay. So they got it figured out. So I then had confidence that I could follow this process and not feel the overwhelm of everything coming at me. And I think less pressure, because then you can just focus on what you're good at and focus on your strengths. And I think that's really important. And keep in mind, I think there's a difference between a system and a routine, and routines become something that's subconsciously programmed. A system is something that has an intention behind it that you're going to follow to an end result, meaning that we have a routine every morning, and you can call it a system, but at the end of the day, really it's a routine that we have so we can get out of the house at this time. We don't overanalyze it, but with this, we're talking about a clear system to help you achieve your goal that you want to do to change your family's life. So I think I want to put people, there's a little awareness difference between a routine and a system. The system has a very specific outcome that you're looking to do to achieve your goal, to maximize this program, this platform, to have great success. So Cameron, I'm looking forward to your wisdom.
I love that. Thank you, Dustin. So let's talk about, I want to mention 4 main types of system, and then we're just going to dig in a little bit and help you tie these to the things that you're going to see. We'll just kind of run through them. And so the 4 main systems that we have in general that most people use are a prospecting system, an onboarding system, an accountability system, and a retention system. And Dustin, you can just hold right there for a second. So Let's start number one with a prospecting system. So what does that mean? Well, that means basically the process of starting it all out, getting into conversation with people to help them improve their lives with what we have to offer them, which is an amazing product, an amazing opportunity, an amazing community, right? Everything that's bundled up within this gift of Prove It. So how does that start? Who does that start with? Who were the first people that we talked to, right? When you got started, I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I got started, Dustin and some of the others that I was connected to said, who are the first 2 to 5 people that you think of that you want to share this with, right? Have you guys ever heard that before? So that is part of a system. That is part of the prospecting system. And within that prospecting system, we have customer prospecting and we have promoter prospecting, because we're not just here to share ketones. We're here to share our business too. We know that that's equally as large of a gift as the ketones. So ACE is a huge, like really just our, golly, what would you call it? It's the system, right? It's the system. It's attract, connect, and enroll, help people get started, whether we're talking about the product or the business. So when we look specifically at a prospecting system, what we want that to be is a clearly defined way of sharing what we've got with people. We want these systems to be tools-based, action-oriented, so third-party tools. So I want to ask you guys, like, are you starting to think of little systems that we have and that we use in addition to ACE? We have the campfire video, we have keto life parties, we have virtual keto life parties, we have 3-way messages, we have 3-way calls, we have all of these awesome systems that we use. So what we get to do is, and might I mention that one of the awesome things about our systems as a team is that we have diverse systems. We don't have to just give people one way that they can do this. So if you're watching this as the brand new person, we're not just going to say, here's the way to do it. You're going to use this Facebook group and that's it. No, we're going to let you use a system based on what your lifestyle looks like, and to help you build a diverse business, like who are you going to call and text, and who are you going to invite over to the house this Thursday to have a keto mixer, right? So, we know we have ACE, and that's super awesome. And it's such a great reminder to just tell ourselves, oh yeah, wait a minute. My goal here is to attract people. Here's a couple different ways to connect them to a tool or resource, and then to help them get started. And so when we were working on this as a team, I wanted to take it a step further and just help people see a little bit deeper than ACE, like right behind ACE. What's deeper than that? What is that connection actually look like? What do I say when I connect people, right? Like little things like that to just take this a step deeper. So Dustin, if you'll pull the customer prospecting system, I want to show you guys this. I don't know if you can see it here, but we'll get this to you so that you can see it. But this very simply just walks you through basically who is it that you're going to and talking to first? Like, who are the first people that you're talking to? What are you saying to them? And then once they reply with this, what are you saying and using from there? And all of these are resources that we use that are company resources. We have our Drink Ketones Daily Facebook group as our customer group. We have our campfire video. Like, they're all things that we use. You may have a page that your team uses specifically that's your resource spot that you put a new, interested, exciting person. But I just want you to know, and Dustin, you can pop back over to ACE if you want, or even to our screen about that specifically. But so that is our customers prospecting system. It is attracting someone or reaching out to them, sharing a third-party tool validation resource such as the campfire video, or maybe you have some simple explainer language. I love that. That's been super helpful for me. If I could just throw in a little tool or pro tip sometimes we're in front of people and they say, what are ketones? And we're so used to using that campfire video. But what is the simplest way that you can say what ketones are? I say keto nat's a powder you mix in water, you shake it and drink it, and within 30 minutes, you're in ketosis with or without a keto diet. The benefits are, what it's done for me is better energy, focus, fat loss, mood. And so just that's a system in itself, just knowing what that next step is. So I love that you said that, Dustin, about that, like the habits versus systems, because I think a lot of these things we can identify that we're doing subconsciously, and just knowing and saying, okay, actually I'm doing this system thing, I just didn't realize it. And then we can peek at the prospecting system really quick too.
Before we do that, I'm gonna ask you something. So you have There's individuals out there. I was one of those individuals where I feel important if I know everything and I say it all out of my own mouth.
Yep.
And I had this idea. I'm like, if my mom can't do what I just did, I probably didn't do it right. If I want to go fast, because I would assume most people want to build a business and they want to go fast. They don't want to go slow. They want to have great success. And I think it's something. If we had a Mitch on here, he'd be saying it's about you, Dustin. You're making it about you. Can you just touch on the significance of that connection piece, and is it a one-time thing? Because I think that's a missing gap for a lot of people that feel like maybe they're judged that they don't know everything. But how important is it to kind of play the I don't know, or hey, that's a great question, here is a video? How important is that, and what would your tip be to somebody like me that thinks they need to know everything before they tell anybody anything?
Well, my thing with that is just remembering, again, that's the importance of a system, because when we know and we identify that we're that person, we know that most people out there, if we do want to build a big business, most people aren't going to be those people. Like, I really, truly didn't know anything. So it was very easy for me to use the system. Now, I'm not a dumb person. Like, people know that. I didn't have to but I'm like, you know what? That's a great question. Like, I feel amazing, but let me grab something that can explain it for you. And what that does is it not only keeps it simple for that person, but it also it lets them know they can do that too. You know, and I think we could all agree that the first couple people we talked to, we probably like totally word vomited. I know I did. I would go into this whole explanation of what keto, like this is what the keto diet is, and this is. Once I knew enough to be dangerous, I was dangerous. So even the other day on a Facebook Live, we were doing a virtual keto party. And it was like, well, Cameron, what are ketones? And I went right back to my language, into my system, and said, keto nuts. So powder, you make some water and you shake and drink it, and within 30 minutes you're in ketosis. And that's all they needed, Dustin. Like you said, if Mitch were here, it's about us, because we like to talk. We could just tell you all day long what ketones are. But if we all said the same thing, how much more duplicatable would our business be for you saying the same thing? And, you know, all the people that are coming in through you and your customers and people who know nothing, if we all said the same thing, we all should have a very similar rate of success, if you will.
Now, some people are going to say it can't be that easy. It can't be that simple. And the one little piece of advice I would give you: the difference between people having success in this system in ACE and the people that don't have the difference is, or success is, excitement. It's their excitement about following the process is the difference. The system works. We've proven that now for 6 years. But the reality is their excitement. Maybe they're not excited. Maybe they have self-doubt. And that's where, you know, that's another conversation about personal growth and things like that you're going to have to go through. So I appreciate that. I know you had a promoter prospect that you wanted to share. I would love to jump into that.
And I love that you said that. It's so funny that you just said that about excitement, because I was listening to a podcast this morning and they said something that I wrote down here to mention today. Excitement and energy trump skill. So I want you to think about this for a second. Excitement and energy trump skill, right? But also, and not but, also excitement and energy with a system is what you need, right? Because we know it with and without it. And so knowing and following and sticking to the system is what will really make for this, instead of thinking like, oh, I have to know all these things and be able to create all these things and do all these things. Be excited. Be enthusiastic, be a product of the product, and use the system that we know works. So yeah, prospecting system. So while you pull that up, I'll just say that we tend to overcomplicate the business, the ask, telling people, hey, you'd be awesome at this. Have you ever thought about doing what I do? Have you ever thought about helping people in the process of better to get to their best self? Because we have that in so many ways, not only through our product, but our community. So this just, again, it's a little simple guideline. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's smaller probably on my screen than yours, but it just tells you, kind of reminds you the simplicity of asking someone that and then leading them through the process. Some examples of language, because when you look at this, it's not for you to take these words and copy them. It's for you to see this as a dialogue that you can insert your verbiage that you use. It's going to be very general to what we all use on when we do our activity calls and things like that. We all use very similar language. It may be tweaked a little bit because we always want to sound like ourselves, but this is just going to remind you that you actually do know what to say. And you're just going to kind of hone in on that language so that when you say it, you're using that same language again and again, and you don't get caught up in here. So we're good there, Dustin.
Awesome.
All right. So Are you good? Can I move on to the next system?
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on, and then I have a couple more questions for you.
All right, cool. So the next system that we have is an onboarding system. So we love getting people started on ketones, right? We love welcoming people into our business and our community. But guess what? If we just leave them there in the crib like a newborn baby, Michael Rutherford says, you don't just bring the baby home from the hospital. You just did all this work, you birthed it and everything, and then you just leave it in the crib, right? So, and Dustin, if you can pull that, we're going to get to that in just a minute with the follow-up system, but we actually haven't done. Thank you. Okay, so now you've birthed the baby, you brought him home, right? How are you going to onboard them? How are you going to set them up for success? So again, we have our Prove It group, our Drink Ketones Daily Reboot Monthly. That group is incredible. We've got recipes, we've got videos happening all the time in there. Listen, if you're on vacation, your person is still seeing the video, the recipes, the post, the excitement. They're reminded that they're not alone in this. So that's just one of the many ways that we can onboard a customer, getting them plugged into anywhere and everywhere that we can and that they want to be. And asking them, how can I best support you? Do you want me to check in with you once a week? Do you want to send me a picture every morning when you make your ketones just for accountability? I'm not going to send you a text and ask if you're drinking them, but if you want to shoot me a picture every day, cool. Like, have that relationship with your person, know how you can best support them. And then with our promoters too, I guarantee you there's an onboarding system in place for all of us, right? We have our Prove It promoter group. We have calls every Saturday. If you're seeing this video, this is part of a system. Your team has a system, and that system is plugging people in so that we can grow and we can learn. So you're part of a system. You probably have Zooms, activity times, different pop-up stuff that you do with your team. That is part of your system. Onboarding is when we come on, we get set up and we go into action. So that's just an important system to know that that we use every day and that we're a part of and that we want to stay clear on. And if you don't, there's times that I tell myself, oh, I don't know, what is that system? Just go back to your coach and say, hey, what is that? What are the first 3 things I should do when I bring on a new promoter? And now you know what your onboarding system is for new promoters. So we just kind of sometimes need to be reminded of that.
Yeah, and then also with the business side of it is, as you're a promoter, there's a system in there. There also, it's get endorsed, get your 2 customers. It's then go pro, it's then go MVP, then it's go all star, and then it's working towards a multiplier each month. That is another process in the system within ACE, and so it's there. We sometimes can complicate it. I know I tend to complicate things. One of the things that if you're new and you're just getting started, be aware of the noise that's out there. Meaning that you can sometimes get caught into somebody's doing something different. And Brian had told me this a long time ago. He's like, Dustin, let's just look at what everybody's doing. And he goes, and because they might have a different voice or a different approach or a different energy about what they're doing. But at the end of the day, everybody that has great success is following ACE, right? They're attracting customers, they're attracting promoters, and then they're following up with that person. It's exactly what Cameron just laid out. It's like, succumb to that process, stay excited, and just remember, it's not about you. It's about somebody said you can either be right or be rich. Which one do you choose? And I was like, I'll take the rich and help a lot of people over being right and being home alone. And so sometimes you have to succumb to that process and that system. So anything else, Cameron, that you would give for a tip for a new person? How about this? If you're brand new or relatively new, what's a real, and I'm going to keep saying this, and you have a burning desire to actually have success here. There's people that say they want to do success. They want to make money. They want to have great success. And they don't show up. They don't participate in any of the stuff that we're offering them. So that tells me that they're maybe not that excited about. They like the idea of having success, but they're really not excited about having success. So I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're excited about having success. You're willing to do some of the work. But what's a realistic expectation? Maybe a time commitment per week. You think when people are getting started, do you think 1 hour a week is going to get them successful in this, or do you think they should start a little bit more aggressively when they're getting started?
No, I think it's important to identify, number one, like, which path are you on? Is it slow and steady, or is it fast and like, let's go? We ask all, that's kind of ties into like an onboarding system. Like, we ask that question always, like, is it slow and steady, or is it fast? Do you want to run? If it's slow and steady, then either way, you're going to start sharing your journey, right? I always say you can't have your transformation in the closet. People are not going to see it. They're not going to know it. Like, you have to put it out there.
Write
Okay.
that down. You can't have your transformation in the closet.
I sometimes it comes out wrong and weird and coming out of the closet, like all kinds of things, but you have to make sure that people see it and they know it, because that's one of our biggest flexes, right? That's one of our biggest flexes, that we have a transformation driven product. Like our product creates transformations. And so to answer your question about a time commitment, I struggle a little bit with putting a time amount on it, because I think it's about how effective are you being? What are you putting in during that time? You can give your business an hour a day. If you're just sitting there watching Zooms during that hour, your business isn't going to grow. I'm sorry. I say that with love. You have to be effective with that time that we're putting in. So I know people that are more effective in 1 hour or 30 minutes in their day than 10 hours in their day, right? So I always tell people, don't look at more time as the goal and as the missing piece that you think is going to get you farther, because it's not that. Get clear on your plan. Know what your system is for your day. What is your schedule? What do you have to get done today in your business? And I don't say that have to from like a bad pressure place, but like, what do you need to do to make your business grow? You can apply this thought process to any business. If we owned, a retail store, it would be fun to make the window look pretty and have a beautiful website and like do all these things. But if nobody ever shops in our store, we can only stay open for so long. So just remind yourself that we talk about income generating activity. It's income generating actions. It's business growing actions. Like, is your business really growing? Straight up. Like, you have to ask yourself that. Is what I'm doing getting me closer to my goals? And fortunately, we have an amazing tracking system that tells us whether it is or not, right? Like on the business side of it. And I'm going to just segue this right into our next system here, because it really ties together, and that's an accountability system. So you have, on the product side of things, like, what do you need to do to stay accountable to the product? That's going to tie into, like you said, your success. Like, number one, if you're not taking your journey serious, how serious are people going to take you? So you have to ask yourself, am I remaining accountable to what I started this product for? Or did I get caught up in a whole bunch of other stuff and I actually haven't been focusing on my goals? That's why we implemented Better You in 22, because we're like, people need to focus back on themselves. So if you're already doing that, you're a step ahead, right? With accountability, you're showing up. Core 4, that is an accountability system. That is, there's just no other way around it. It's an accountability system. That is one of the most crucial 4 systems, is accountability. And we have that with Core 4. We also have that with our company promos that come through and things like that. But stay accountable to the person that you're working with. Set a time, like you said, Dustin, best measures for success. Plan your day, plan your business in. Know what you're doing. Don't sit down for that hour and go, what should I do today in my business? Know who you're following up with. Know that you're talking to the 2 new people. Know that you've attracted people. Maybe before you went into work, you put out your, we call them trot lines, because I heard it on a training and it just stuck with me. Throw your lines out so that at night, when you check in on your business, or during lunch, when you check in, you've got people there to talk to. You've got excited people, right? Those are the things that are going to move our business forward. And then stay accountable to your coach. Set goals. Like, if you don't set goals, what are we doing? We just kind of wander around, right? Goals help us grow. Goals just aren't a measure of success for, are we successful or not in this business? If you show up every day for yourself and for your journey and for your best you're successful. I don't care what your rank or back office says, right? But if you do have a desire to build a business here, I do. The fact that I show up for myself, my personal journey, isn't enough to support the life that I want, that I've created, right? So I show up for my business and I make sure that I am holding myself accountable. We're all our own best accountability partners. So I always tell people, I'm like, you can BS me all day long. You can lie to me. You can tell me you did this, that, and the other, but we can't lie to ourselves. Like, we know if we were on that call or not. So have that accountability with yourself, and also have that with your coach. Check in with them, report with them, make sure that they know what you're going for so that they can check in with you as well. And I think having that combined with a plan, regardless of how much time, don't ever just say, I'm going to show up for, well, I shouldn't say don't ever, but I would never recommend just saying I'm going to show up one day a week. I would say show up every day for 10 minutes instead of just like skipping a bunch of days and never showing up. I heard somewhere in the beginning that one day off in this industry is like 90 days off. And boy, that stuck with me enough that I'm like, even if I have to go hide in a bathroom somewhere, I am getting that 10 minutes in, and I'm going to know what I'm doing during that 10 minutes.
So, you said, say that again. You can't have a transformation in a closet if you want to have success in our business. Is that what you said?
Yeah, like just don't have your transformation in the closet.
That
Like
same,
show.
that same kind of transformation is your business transformation. I think sometimes we have such a transformation product, right? And hey, listen, if you don't have your own story, share somebody else's. There's a lot of them out there. And but the same thing with the business is we have people literally making, a good income that won't tell anybody that they're making any income about the business because they're afraid of how that person may judge them. And I'm like, you're willing to make money from it, but you're not willing to let anybody else do it. That seems pretty selfish. It's about you again. So I think that same rules apply to the business. Anything else for the newer person that you feel like somebody that's relatively new, or maybe that's early on in this that doesn't quite maybe see them even as a business person? Would you give them as a tip advice? Because I want to maybe take it one step forward. Maybe we'll take like 5 minutes and talk about some of the people that have been in for a while that maybe you're looking at. There's more that they need to do.
Right. Okay. So for the newest person, I just still go back to focus on your transformation and showing that, because if you don't do anything else, if you're a walking billboard, and that does not have to mean fat loss, you guys, people can see pain on people. And when I mean pain, I mean tired and things like that. People can also see, whoa, you are glowing. What are you doing? You are happy. Let people see that. And it's so simple to do that because of our product. It's also, we have such an advantage that we have such an amazing product. And I think that goes back into us. You asked about like sticking to it and sticking to the language and sticking to the system and the campfire video. And that, if there's no other reason why, that's an amazing reason right there, just because our product is what is going to keep people connected. So by us keeping it simple, but I would say keep it simple, stay focused, never lose focus on your journey. Do it for the people that are watching, that are incredibly inspired, that go to sleep at night praying for something, that they're going to run across your stuff. Like, don't get caught up in the headspace of whether it's what people think about you or how you have to do this. The most success and stickiness and longevity comes through your warm relationships and personally known. And that may not be the people that you know directly. It may be who a customer of yours knows. But again, by sticking to these systems, it makes it simple and it makes it duplicatable. And I guess that's probably the best advice I could say for a newer person, and stay close to the fire.
All right. So with that, you just said, it's like you already knew I was going to ask a question here. The one more, I thought of it when you're talking. I think it would be unjust to not share this one thing. For somebody new, I got the chills because, I know your story probably more in depth than a lot of people do, of just some of the trials and tribulations you've had over the last 6 years. And you always show up to our events. And I was told early on that if you want to have success, hang around successful people, be part of it, stay around the fire. And I know that, and we won't get into this is probably there's a whole nother conversation, but when people are saying, hey, I really want to make this a business, I really, really want to do this, I'm fully committed, I believe that they have 100%. They should go to the event, like all the events. Like if you're fully committed, go to the events. There's always a reason why you shouldn't. I had 2 babies during 2 events, so I didn't make those 2 events. But for the most part, I don't miss events because I truly believe it's so significant. And I think that's a kind of another system and prove it that we have for you. Just give people that are relatively new how important. If are you going to have great success long term in this if you don't go to the events?
Okay, yeah. So that's so funny because the 4th system is retention. And I'll just say,
I forgot we covered that.
In case anybody was waiting on it. Well, you keep taking me into the next one, so it's perfect. So the final system is retention, and events are a part of that, you guys. Events are a part of that. Our SmartShip program is a part of that. Follow-up is a part of that. We do have a follow-up system that you have the image there for, Dustin, but it just reminds you like some simple follow-up language that you can use. schedule, use your app, your Prove It Pulse app, or Siri, or whoever's on your phone, your free personal assistant voice thing, Google Voice, whoever you have. I call them free virtual assistant. Tell them to remind you when to follow up with somebody. That is part of your retention system, and it's so incredibly important. And celebration, recognition, and relationships. So the question that you asked me is about events. So I will say this. I do not believe I would be sitting here today if I didn't go to my first event at all. As scary as it was for me to jump on an airplane and fly to California, I'd only flown a handful of times in my life, and probably 3 of the 5 was when I had met my husband, which was within the first 5 years, 5 years before I started Prove It. So I didn't grow up flying all over the place. So jump on an airplane, fly to California without your family and really don't have a bank account full of money, go. And that leap of faith, that going and showing up, I don't know. It changed everything. I just feel like you can't, virtual's great, and we've pivoted and we've worked through it and we do it, and I'm grateful for it. But there's something, it's a feeling that you get that I think you feel when you go there, no matter what event. It doesn't even matter what the event is. It's just about going there and being there. And I know that's a challenge for a lot of people, but it's something that, again, you have to ask yourself, what do you want from this? Like, if you really truly want this and you see yourself winning at this, and you're like, and I know, Dustin, that you said some people are like, I don't even know if I want to do this as a business yet. I'm not saying this is scary. I'm talking to the people that were like me, that were like, I'd want more. I want this. People tell me that every day. So I know you're out there. I know you're watching this video. No, Cameron, I need this. My family needs this. I want this. I'm here to make this work. I love ketones. I believe in ketones. I need to make this work. Then show up to events, show up to any opportunity you can. If you're a Netflix binger, don't be a Netflix binger anymore, because that's not, listen, I struggle with that.
Netflix isn't paying you.
What are video games doing for your life? Nothing. Like, I'm that parent and that person. But no, I'm not trying to be that. Like, you don't have to throw your life away by any means,
right?
But just make a plan and stick to it. I mean, you can't, anybody can come into this business and win. I believe that with all my heart, that any person, I don't care what they've been through, where they come from, Yale or jail. Listen, trust me, I know that, right? You got to know my team. So doesn't matter. If you have a burning desire, a will to win, and you're leadable, coachable, teachable, you can win at this. Don't quit. Don't measure your success by the crazy things that people measure their success with. Don't ever underestimate the growth that you're getting as a person. Get off of this call and think about what you could take from this call that applies to your daily life. I guarantee you can come up with 3 to 5 things that apply to your daily life just from this call. How did that improve you as a person compared to maybe what you would have been doing with your time? You know what I mean? So don't underestimate the growth that you're enduring every day, while you're growing into the person that the financial aspect of it can catch up to. I just was talking to somebody right before this call that was literally in tears because of how much and how fast her business is growing right now. And she said, I am so grateful that this did not happen when I thought I wanted it to. I am so grateful that I was able to grow to who I am right now. And that's not been a years of growth. That's just been committed to growing so that when all the success came that she was believing for, she would be ready for it. So part of I want to throw this in because I think this is so important. We talked about accountability and self-accountability. And part of that is making sure that you're building you every day. It's the personal development aspect of it. Because if you're doing the other parts of this business and you're talking to people and you're inviting people, some of that may come with a little bit of pushback. Some of it may come with some no's, and no's are okay. They just mean not right now. But make sure that you're growing and developing as a person yourself, that you're allowing that 15-minute ride to work be what fuels your brain and your positivity and belief tank for that day. Because without that, Dustin, at the beginning of the call, we talked about excitement and energy trumps skill. Energy doesn't just mean like, I'm energetic. Energy means everything that's coming off of me based on my ability to handle things, adapt to things, and emotionally deal with life, because it's happening around all of us, and it's our ability to stay focused and keep our eye on the prize, and to keep it simple and to stay mission focused. I always think of you when I say that, because does your wall say mission? It's like you're the mission guy. Like Brian used to always say, see, mission to a million. It's that militant, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to do this. and I'm going to follow the systems that are here for me. I'm not going to make excuses about what I have and what I don't have and whatever as reasons why. And I'm just going to stay mission focused, and I'm going to do it. And I truly feel like it's that decision that will make or break a lot, you know?
It's huge, and I know some people when they're getting started out, they don't always see that, and we have a lot of self-doubt. We also have a lot of judgment of ourselves, and at the end of the day, we're all pursuing better, and if we keep pursuing that, game can change forever. And go back to the basic system. ACE is that foundation. Build off that. If you're new, that's the role you're going to play, and we can build into that. And, thank you, Cameron. I do want to just ask for a couple tips. There's people, I think sometimes we can, some of us that have been in for a while, we have a team. We're now, instead of us just focusing on growing maybe one or two people, we have, people in different states and cities and countries, which is a good problem to have, by the way. But then they get overwhelmed, and sometimes they don't. I know I did. I lost sight of the simplicity of what got me to where I was going. And then I started to actually overwhelm myself with more systems. But yet, I think there's some tools out there that people could use if they have a bigger team. If they bring on 40 customers a month. Who would like that? You'd love that. Sometimes you need something to help that system out. Could you give some people maybe that have either bring in a lot of customers or people that have a larger team? Could you give them maybe one or two tips or systems that they could maybe add or to support them for maybe time management? Do you have any of those on the top of your head?
I would say a big thing is just not relying on ourselves to remember and who do I need to follow up with when. This is when somebody's getting their trial pack. Oops. Are we good?
There you go. I got you. We got you.
Sorry. I had to get a charger. It's about not relying on yourself and trying to be Superman. Just, get a spreadsheet, set reminders, the pressure of having to remember. So many times I talk to people and they're like, oh, I felt, I dropped the ball. I haven't followed up in 3 months with people, and I did an event and I didn't call and check in with people. And I'm like, if you just set a reminder, and then you don't have to rely on yourself to do it. And when the reminder goes off, you just send a quick message. Hey, just checking in. So number one, I think, is just set yourself up for success by just not putting all the pressure on yourself to remember things. I think that's huge. I huge. Our app is incredible too with that, by the way.
I was just going to ask you that because I know there's people out there, and if you're brand new, this portion is not really for you. You have to earn the right to get to this point. But I know people out there, like we have different text. There's text apps.
Yeah.
People. There's emails. Should I email everybody? How do I do that at a mass level? There's bots out there. I find that a lot of people probably don't need that. But if they have long-term great success, they might need to bring on that support, kind of like a reminder system. Anything that you have used or seen that you think that could be valuable? Boards. I know you like boards, and that's a system that you can build within there that can help people out.
100%. Yes. Anything you can have that helps with automation. I spent years thumbing through my notebooks, messaging every single person every time there was a sale. I personally use Project Broadcast. I know people use things like Community. There's different texting apps out there. But having everyone loaded into a texting app, pulling from your back office and anywhere you collect phone numbers, I would 100% recommend that. I just tell people it's my keto line. I'm like, hey, I still have my personal number. It's my keto line. That helps with any personally known people, but anybody that you're attracting anywhere where their phone number is coming in, let's say through TikTok or any platform that has your phone number, you want to have it on your link tree. Link tree is just, you guys know, if I'm talking to you at this level, it's a link management place where people can go and click. They can text you right there. They go into your app, whatever you're using, and they're even filed or segmented, if you will. So now when I go to send a message, I can hit just all my SmartShip customers with one message. So then you could systemize that by saying, hey, every Monday or every other Monday, I'm sending out a message to all my SmartShip customers that just says, hey, happy Monday. Here's a tip for the week. By the way, how's it going with your ketones? What if you just had that set up to go out? And listen, by talking to people and onboarding them properly and getting to know them and what they're looking for, you can be more effective with your follow-up. You can file these people efficiently. And, Dustin, a lot of this stuff that I'm just now doing this many years in, I juggle and I go back and forth with, what if I would have started this sooner versus, at what time is right. And I think that realistically, the conversation that I've been having with people, my goal has always been to build something that people could work in the nooks and crannies of their day. And I know what that means because I've been a busy person since I was, forever. Like that's just me. So realistically, if you're at work from 8 to 5 and you have a quick lunch break to enjoy your Prove It foods really quick, and you get off work and family duties come in and there was a sale that day, do you have time to go send out 40 messages to make sure everybody knows about the sale? I don't know. Is it worth $15 a month to be able to type it out and hit one button and it goes to everybody while you run to the bathroom for a potty break at work? I don't know. That's a question you can ask. I'll never tell anyone to pay, to put money into their business as far as like, oh, you have to pay for hire this and I wouldn't do that. But as a business person, I also know I would rather pay someone to clean my house than do it for 8 or 9 hours. My 8 or 9 hours, can be spent better in another way. So I think that's a question we should ask ourselves and that, anyone should consider. With email, same thing. I think also email keeps people in the know. It keeps them in communication, but it's also a great way we can give people value. So I have used email more recently, and it's a great way to send a replay of a call that we do. We do opportunity calls and things like that. You can send the replay. Hey, if you missed this, here it is. Shoot me a message once you watch it. So I think email is great with that too. And I think, hey, if you have a college-aged kid or a high school-aged kid, or sometimes I'll get my son's friends, like different ones of his girl friends, like, hey, come for an hour or two and help me. And I'll just have a hit list of things that I'll have her do. So I'm a proponent of working smart, so look at your business and look at how you're building this and talk to your coach, like talk to the person that you work with, because a lot of times I'll get on a call with people in the team that are feeling that overwhelm at any level, right? And I do this too, Dustin. I'll get on with you guys for coaching, and an awareness that we always have is, wait a minute, like I could probably eliminate a lot of this by just stopping for a moment to look at what all I have here and like doing what I need to do with it, right?
Right.
Like, I'm like, look at the plate, it's full, it's heavy, like it's really full and heavy. What can we take off and like systemize or delegate or pre-schedule in or whatever? I do that to myself. I go back and go, oh, this is feeling heavy. What can I? And so sometimes, just talking to another person and helping them look at it from the outside, they can go, okay, wait a minute. Why don't, here's what you could do, X, Y, Z, and then that's going to help here. It's communication. It's all communication and growth. And I think, being real with ourselves, Dustin, and like knowing what we want and that we're committed to that and that we trust the process, and keeping our mind right in it and showing up every day is
Awesome.
it'll do it.
Y'all, we can talk for days on all this. This is there's a lot to it, but just to kind of break down the foundation is that if you're brand new, it's really just follow the system. It's ACE. It's attracting customers, following up with that system, that process of getting those customers started. It's about their transformation. Promoters, the same thing. And then staying plugged in, right? Staying connected into the community, going to events, showing up on the calls that you can make. I will tell people that if you have a limited time and you're on 5 training calls, and you're not taking that time to attract new people, you're not going to have success. At the beginning, attraction is the key to your success, and then you can get training over time. And then the last thing, if you've been doing this a while and you want to incorporate some other tools, like I use the Prove It Pulse, and I pulse out a lot of information, like check the pulse. I find that my mom, her habits of checking the pulse it's really been hard for 5 years to get in her to go to the pulse. But if I send her an email, she catches it. So I realize that that's a different form of communication for her. As you guys get to know me, I'm not a big Facebook group fan. It overwhelms me. I don't know why. I get in a group and I'm just swallowed. So if I'm getting my only communication via Facebook group, then that can be tough for me. So as you're more advanced, just keep in mind that there's different people at different places. And nothing will ever beat, as you incorporate new things into your business, if it's a text app, if it's emailing, if it's a Facebook group, nothing will ever beat a personal interaction with anybody, ever, a personal touch. And so I do encourage people that just realize the value of personal touch and personal connection, because it is community-based marketing. But yet, you're, like Cameron says, if you don't have the time to do it and you need to bring a tool in or or a resource to help you with time management, then you have to. That is going to be a very important thing to your success. So Cameron Moss out there in Southern Florida, what a rock star. I appreciate you. And I'm just telling you, the last 5 years, my world, my life, my family's life is better because you've been a part of it. You are a shining star in the world. And I appreciate you. You always show up. You always come with a great energy and a vibe, and you're willing to give and share your wisdom. And that is a huge asset and the value that you have. And so I appreciate you more than you probably could. I can probably express with words. So thank you for being on.
Thank you so much.
And y'all, hopefully you got some value out of today and follow the systems.
Yes. Yes. Thank you guys.
Cheers.